Ambassador Simon Silver was meeting with his Emorak counterpart, 4533, during the last 2 months since first contact was established. Both representatives had been very guarded with the cultural and political situation of their species. They were models of professionalism, paragons of their race, men amongst men. Their security detail, on the other hand... "Yo, 22, what's up?" "Sup, Bob? Nothing much." The ambassadors looked at their head of security, then at each other and sighed. Simon spoke up. "Alright, I will be touring the museum with Ambassador 4533. Just cover the entries since only the 2 of us will be looking at the exhibits." Bob gave him a thumbs up as he sat down on the ground and started shuffling a deck of cards while 22 sat in front of him. I swear to God, if the man couldn't shoot a fly a mile away with his eyes closed, I would fire him on the spot. Simon followed 4533 into the building, a building that read Museum of Galactic Wars. Oh, good. High Command was wondering about how the galactic community fought. This should prove educational. Here we have a statue commemorating the end of the Silos-Arturian War, the bloodiest, longest war in recorded history, having claimed nearly 1 million lives and lasted almost a full standard year. The tiny, grey Imorak floated up to Simon's head and hugged it to reassure him. I understand if it is too much, but the Galactic Council feels humanity should know of your darkness. Yes, of course. I understand. He fought to keep his cool as he remembered the corporation's wars that saw 2.7 billion dead and the 100 Years' War. They kept moving. Here we have the Monument to the Unknown Soldier. Feeling he was on more familiar grounds, Simon took a deep breath and started to calm himself. He is the only soldier to have fallen in a war that could not be identified in known history. This is because he was hit by an illegal weapon. The Amorak was hugging the human's head again to comfort him. A legal weapon. Yes, a weapon that does not kill instantly, leaving the body intact. With a great effort, Simon did not move his hand to the plasma pistol on his hip. Right. Yes. Illegal weapons. The Amorak stopped hugging him long enough to grab his head and look him in the eyes. The next part of the museum may be difficult to understand. Most species do not have words for the crimes documented here. Simon looked at the names on the table of content, of a flyer he grabbed on the way in, and words in it that his translator had no problem identifying. Torture, genocide, civil war, standing armies, nuclear-powered weapons. Simon closed his eyes and prayed to all that was sacred and profaned to wake back home, and this whole affair to be a bad dream. Bob, Simon's head of security, picked a card. So, how did you get your boss to play along? Are you kidding me? When I explained to 4533 that humans had a similar sense of humor to us, he jumped at the idea. Took him 2 whole days of training to be able to comment on the exhibits without laughing himself silly. When do you think he'll break and ask to leave? My bet is on the unknown soldier bit. 22 folded his hand. Bob picked his winnings and shuffled the deck. That soon? I think the Who-Humans video is going to be what does it. Bob looked at his hand and frowned. Who-Humans? Bipedal, ape-like creatures. The only known species to have gone to war with each other's, which is why the Galactic Council reluctantly cut all ties with them, and they are isolated to this day from all other sentient beings. Bob snorted. Okay, yeah. I can see how that might do it. Before he could pick his next card, Ambassador Simon burst out through the front door. He was holding his plasma pistol. We have to leave. We have to alert the High Council. We'll be branded criminals. Pariahs. 22 sat up and noticed his boss was nowhere to be seen. Where is Ambassador 4533? In response, Simon shot him, or at least tried. His aim was all over the place. 22, on the other hand, didn't miss his mark. I'm sorry, but he left me no choice. Bob moved to check on his boss and friend. He was breathing in short, shallow breaths and was struggling to speak. Bob had never felt so much remorse in his life. Here he held the dying body of one of the greatest men he had ever known, all for a stupid joke. It should have been me. As Simon lay dying, he tried to say his last words, and Bob leaned in to hear the barely audible whisper. Gotcha, motherfucker. Bob looked at Simon again, breathing normally and with a shit-eating grin on his face. Then at 22, and Ambassador 4533, who was now standing by his side, both holding in their laughter. I hope you all know you're going to hell for that one, right? Oh, Crimea fracking river. Fake museum of war. Now help me up. The ground is cold as ice and I need a drink. General Armstrong was worried. Simon Silver should have sent his report on today's meeting with the Imorak delegation hours ago. He didn't like doing this, but he remotely activated the human space embassy's cameras. The position humanity would hold, if any, in the universe, was a source of strong debates on Earth, and in the colonies, and this meeting was crucial. He expected many things, but seeing Simon and his people drinking, playing cards and eating junk food with the tiny grey aliens was not one of them. Many notions floated in his head. Court-martial, political disaster, total failure, etc. But the more he looked at the scene of merriment, the more a single thought dominated all others. I think we'll be okay.